Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in their voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. Live that loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, their foes can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to our edition of, well, I guess the morning, it's just me today, Ken in the morning. The other Ken had an appointment to be at today, so he won't be here, and I'm not sure what's happened to Joe. Good morning, JB. So, yeah, this is day 3 for my hijacked X account. So if you're watching on Ken the Bear Fan X, I have been hacked. I can stream there because the stream key is still active, but I can't even log into my account. So I'm on the alternate account right now monitoring. And yes, I've messaged X, and we'll see how long X takes to respond. They haven't responded yet. So yeah, enough of my woes. Hope you guys are all having a good morning. Of course, we had Monday Night Football yesterday, and yep, we're missing Kitty Ken this morning, JB. We had the Niners beating Carolina, which didn't really change the playoff picture. So the playoff picture stayed the way it was coming into last night, which is crazy that, well, we're at that point in the season already. Right now, the number 1 seed is the Rams at 9-2. In the NFC, number 2 is the Eagles at 8-3. The Bears are the 3 seed at 8-3. Here's the funny thing. The Rams and the Eagles both have 99% playoff odds. The Bears only 61%. Okay. The Bucks at 6-5 have 85% chances. The Seahawks at 8-3 are 92%. The Packers are the 6th seed, 76%, and the Niners in the 7th seed are at 86%. Yeah, so the Bears have the lowest playoff odds. You gotta love the amount of non-love the Bears get from the odds makers. There you go, Brandon. Yeah, I didn't really watch the game yesterday. I was trying to get back into my X account, trying to do some things, but so I kind of monitored the game. I didn't really get to watch the game. That happened on, excuse me, the random Monday night. Right now, though, the bubble is interesting. So the Lions have a higher chance of making the playoffs than the Bears do, being in the bubble at 7-4, at 76%. The Panthers are 6-6 with a 14% chance. The Cowboys, who are 5-1, have an 8% chance of getting in. You know, however, if the Bears win Thursday or Friday and send the Eagles to 8-4, and the Cowboys win and go to 6-5, that number is sure to go up. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting on the AFC side. Let me scroll up here and get to the AFC side. The AFC side, Patriots are 99% assured of getting in at 10-2. The Broncos 96% at 9-2. The 3 seeds, the Colts at 8-3, 86% chance. The Ravens in first place in their division now is 6-5. We'll talk about a turnaround. 80% chance of getting in. The Chargers, the Jags, and the Bills all at 7-4. 57, 69, and 85% respectively. The Texans have a 44% chance of getting in on the bubble at 6-5. The Chiefs at 54% chance at 6-5, and the Steelers a 27% chance at 6-5. So we're starting to watch those. No, it's disrespect, JB, because they don't think the Bears will win games in their schedule. That's just always, that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. Good morning, Fred. Good to see you. Yeah, the Bears never get respected. I mean, I'm sorry. In 2006, when we went to the Super Bowl, they were 5th in the power rankings Super Bowl week. So, yeah, they just don't get the respect that they deserve. Good Good morning, Joe. Good to see you today. What happened yesterday?
Oh, dude, I slept in, and my wife came and woke me up at 9 o'clock, and she's like, "Hey, don't you have jujitsu today?" I'm like, "Yeah." Um, so I don't know. I stayed up late the night before watching movies. And it's the kid, the kids are on Thanksgiving break,
Oh
so
yeah. So,
I don't have.
funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish it. Finish it.
So I don't have to. Usually, I have to wake them up for school, right? So, um, they're on break. I don't have to wake them up for school. So I set my alarm for 8 o'clock, and I just slept through my alarm. So then my wife came and like tapped me at 9 o'clock. She's like, "Hey, yeah, don't you have to go to jujitsu?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it was like, "Oh man."
Well, it's funny because I slept in hard Saturday, which is rare. I usually don't. Usually, I say I'm gonna sleep in. I'm up at 8, and today I actually slept until my alarm. So, um, yeah, it's crazy. All right, what are we talking about here? People are giving Shiduki credit, but not 10 sacks by defense. That's what I'm talking about, JB. Like, where people give credit, like the Bears, the people will give the Bears no credit. They're 8-3, and they'll look at the schedule and say, "Oh, well, they're going to lose the rest of their games." Okay, sure. I mean, I'm sorry. Uh, I just think when these lists and these, the percentage of the Bears have the lowest chance of the NFC North of getting in the playoffs of the three teams in the hunt. By the way, Joe, between the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions, the Bears have the lowest percentage for getting in, which I think is hilarious. Oh, well, they look at their schedule. That just they just give that team zero respect. But okay,
Yeah, like how do they have the lowest chance when like they're in first place? And actually, I think the Packers have a tougher schedule.
it's just it's when these guys think of it, I get it. It's hard to forget years past. People, I guess not everyone, possesses that control alt delete, that lets them think what's actually going on this year. They get stuck in last year. Um, yeah.
I
Good
mean,
morning, Isaac.
I know it's kind of close, right? Like as far as who has the tougher schedule going forward, it's like the Bears don't have an easy schedule, but like the Packers have a pretty rough one.
Yeah, and the Lions don't have an easy schedule either.
Yeah.
In fact, the team that has the easiest schedule is the Minnesota Vikings,
And they're already out.
and they're pretty much out. Yeah.
It's a bunch of division games. I mean, like they packed the whole end of the schedule full of division games.
Well, yeah, like we get the Eagles Friday, Packers, Browns, Packers, Niners, then we finish with the Lions. So, I mean, I can
Yeah.
think of at least minimum 2 wins in there. At minimum, you're going to be a 10-win team, and you're telling me 10 wins isn't going to get you in the playoffs this year. Okay. I mean, I think we beat the Browns. I think we beat the Packers at least once because it's hard to sweep 2 out of 3 games. Like when you play twice in 3 weeks,
Yeah,
how often do we see a sweep happen for any team in that scenario?
not often.
Yeah. So I mean, you figure as much as like I would like to say, oh, the Bears are going to sweep the Packers, or the Packer fans like to say, oh yeah, we're going to sweep the Bears. Man, when you're playing 2 games in 3 weeks, that's like, that's one of those situations that just does not happen often at all. In fact, it's like I hate when you get the deal where you play a team week 17 or 18 and then you see them in the playoffs. Yeah, God, I hate that too.
Man, you know what? One thing I'm looking forward to sweeping is, I mean, Lions could win this game, but I'm going for the sweep. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Lions fans are just saying, oh, week one is a fluke. Week one is a fluke. They can't cope with the fact that they lost. I'm hoping that Packers put it on them.
I mean, look, week 1 is a distant memory. Week 1 and week 2, both those games are distant memories, right? And these are all these teams are completely different teams than we saw in weeks 1 and 2 of the season, which is basically preseason ending. No, you bring Broski, up there's a Broski. Good morning, Broski.
Morning, gentlemen.
But the Packers have a better chance, I would say, of sweeping the Lions because there is such a from week 2 to week 13, huge gap, right? A lot of things have happened. But for the Packers, man, I mean, look, both teams are completely different. The Packers still have offensive line issues with the injuries, but the Lions do too have some. Both teams have issues. I'm saying, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
A good game. I mean,
absolutely,
it is.
We got 3 NFC North teams that are featured in primetime games or prime games this Thanksgiving. Obviously, Packers Lions on Thursday, and then you got Bears Eagles on Friday.
I hope Greg Olson ain't at the fucking game and eating Jordan Love's turkey leg if we win.
well,
That bastard.
Broski is currently in the Philly area. I am in enemy territory right now.
Oh, go Delisandro's.
I actually went to a local spot yesterday, and Del Saunders is great, man. That's in Roxborough. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, are you
everybody
gonna get tickets to the game, broski?
No. I mean, I say enemy territory, but it's where I grew up, so no. I don't need to get sent to jail. I mean,
everybody debating Pat and Gino's cheesesteak, but Delisandro's is better.
Yeah, Pat and Gino's are tourist traps. Like nobody from Philly goes to those places. Yeah. But man. Packers Lions, should be a good matchup. To me, it's kind of simple though. Like can the Lions run the football? If they can't establish the run, because right now the Lions think they can run on anybody. If they can't do that against the Packers, which if I'm not mistaken, they had issues running the ball on them when they played week 1. Lions are going to be for a long day, but if they can get the run game going, it's going to be a game.
Broski, I want you to pick the Lions because the last couple of weeks you've been picking against the Packers and we've been winning, so you're the good luck charm.
Well, I gotta say this: if you really want me to get into the Vikings, I mean, just what an organizational failure. That's the last week I'm picking the Vikings for anything. Like, you have a team that's in win now mode, coming off a 14-3 season. Okay, you're not a fan of Darnold in big games. Okay, you're not a fan of Daniel Jones because he was unproven at the time. At least you bring in Rodgers and drop him in and do your title run thing. While you're in win now mode. They thought a first year quarterback coming off a major injury was going to take them to the promised land. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's just a total misguided judgment by that organization.
What's great too is I went into the game, kind of fearing their defense more than their offense, of course. Their defense has been humming. They only got 1 sack off of us. And our O-line has been having issues. So, like, to have a performance like that, I mean, of course, we ran the ball a lot. That was the game plan, is just run it down their throats, and it worked perfectly. And
did Grenard play that game?
No, he was out.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a last-minute scratch, just like a couple of our players were last-minute scratches too. But
that was a huge impact for their defense. Their defense without Grenard, that's an impact. I mean,
still got some pretty good players like Van Ginkel.
Van Ginkel being back has helped in the last couple of weeks. That team, like, that's another team to, like, if you think about it, like, defensively, the Bears are not where they should be defensively this season. With the personnel they got. The Vikings, same thing. In both cases is injury. A lot of injury driven. The Packers have been a mixed bag, I want to say, Isaac, and here's why. Minus the 2 up front who are driving the sacks. One's getting sacks, probably more so because of the other right now, which is fine. You expect some of that, but when it comes to your secondary play, it's still suspect. So if teams can get pass protection, that's why the Packers defense has issues when they're not getting the pressure. And let's face it only takes a couple plays in the NFL, right? If you can protect the quarterback on the right plays and make those plays, which some teams have been able to do against you, it doesn't negate your defense, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, one thing I'm happy about is we benched Nate Hobbs. You know what I mean? Like, and Damn you, Joe. I wish we could give him back to the Raiders.
Hey,
But
you shut your dirty whore mouth.
ever since we benched him and put in Carrington Valentine hasn't been giving up anything. You know what I mean? And he's faced guys like DK Metcalf gave up nothing. He was mostly on Jefferson. Jefferson barely got anything.
So
And
DK though, but I
mhm,
think DK. So we just had a guy on DK this last weekend who was on Minnesota's practice squad last year, and that's who
mhm.
covered DK the whole game. And I think DK maybe had 2 catches, like, and those
well,
were like short things that weren't defendable. You know what I'm saying?
well,
And for the
DK was hurt. DK got hurt. That's why it's
For the
just
record, I wasn't saying shut your whore mouth about saying you want to give Hobbs back. I was saying about benching him because I told you from
mhm.
like as soon as you signed him, you better be playing him in the slot. And you guys have been playing him outside.
Yeah, well, that was off necessity, off injury. Like, we had a couple
Well,
guys injured, and
I
we tried to.
understand, but you
Yeah,
can't complain like, hey, this guy that has been one of the top slot corners in the NFL for a few years, despite with
Yeah.
some injuries, he's not playing great on the outside for us, and like
yeah,
everybody told you, like he's not an outside corner. He gets toasted, dude. He's better when he can play the run and he can play like play that inside slot. Like
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah, it
I
is
would
true.
take
funny how
Hobbs back
certain
right now.
cornerbacks are more geared to be nickelbacks than
Yeah,
outside, and like in certain safeties also, because
So
I mean
he,
it's safety and a nickelback can sometimes be
mhm.
interchangeable. Sometimes there's a free safety and move to nickelback, and he goes back and forth between nickelback and safety. It's just that's an interesting position, is what I'm getting at. That nickel position. It's kind
yeah.
of it's. I didn't think it was as unique as it was up until about 5 years ago. I'm like, yeah, this is a big time specialty position now.
So he's Kevin King. That's what
And
he
I
is.
think it's going to. I think eventually the play figure that out, and they're going to start getting paid according to it too.
Yeah,
Like I think it's going to become such a specialty position, or it already has become that. But I think the players are going to realize it, and they're going to be like, "Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like you know,
yeah,
Here's what I'm
yeah.
expecting though for that game, versus the Lions. I know Gibbs ain't going to be shut down again like we did last time, but we are going to have a primary focus on him. But what we need to control is the Amon Ross St. Brown catches. You know what I mean? That's the one that are the most deadly that extends drives for them. So
Sure.
definitely it's gonna be all hands on deck on
Yeah,
Amon
Jameer
Ross St.
Gibbs
Brown.
is a man. He's hard to stop right now, as we saw last weekend. But look at the Giants, and I'm not trying to undersell the Giants because like all three of us have beaten them, right? But
Yeah.
all three of us, they took us to the brink, right? So that I mean, and that's how I'm gonna use it in this argument.
they're a
All three
scrappy
teams
team,
got
dude.
all three
They are.
teams got taken to the brink by the Giants. Yes, we all beat the Giants, but by like it was a one-score game.
Hmm.
But to me, that says something too. That these NFC North teams are all pretty close. Like no one's
Mhm.
like light years ahead or decades ahead or anything ahead.
I
They're
agree.
all pretty damn close because if you look at some of the like opponents in recent weeks, especially, we've all played them very similarly. Like they've all been tight games. The Bears, I mean, their point differential, I think we're still -4 points. But if you get rid of week 2, right, which was like when the Lions just blew us up in that week
Yeah.
2 game, the Bears are positive, right? Obviously, they've gone
Yeah.
8-1 since then. Um,
And they're probably like
Eh,
plus 20 because the Bears lost by 30 points that game.
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. So I mean, but you look at these three teams in the North; they're all pretty close. So when you look at Thursday's game, and actually even when you look at Friday's game, because I think the Eagles, like if you look at the Eagles, how they've played the Packers and the Lions, once again, both really close games. So both these games we're going to see Thursday and Friday, I expect to be very close, nail-biting games, which is, you're going to have that dread feeling, you're going to have that joy feeling, then the dread feeling, then hopefully for some of us, joy feelings. I mean, well, for Packers and Lions fans, one of you is going to be joyful, obviously. For the Bears fans, we'll find out. But I mean, very close games. So for the Packers, I think their key is, you first off, Micah's got to get to Goff, and you got to stop, and you got to take Jameer Gibbs away. For the Lions, you got to take you got to be good offensively because defensively, um, It's a kind of similar. Like you know you've got to get Hutch has got to get to Love. You can't let Love throw because eventually they're going to catch some balls, right? And actually, Dorn brought up a good point the other day. The Packers are pretty good on the drops this year. So if the Lions defense isn't getting it done on the Packers offense, which isn't great this year, but is good enough.
Yeah, and two things to point out really quick. So I know Isaac, you were talking about Amon Ra. I mean, I watch a lot of Lions football, and he's been honestly unreliable this year. He's had so many drops because his hand is a mess. Like very
Yeah, I've seen his
uncharacteristic to him. And also, like I kind of like the Packers in this game. I know you might not want to hear that, Isaac, but like they're kind of like and this is not like an insult or made to be disparaging, but like they're like an amped up Giants team where like the strength is their defensive line. They have a quarterback who can push the ball down the field. They play together as a unit on defense. Like they bring a lot more to the table than the Giants. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, focus, like being on the defensive line is their strength kind of thing, and they can burn you on some deep pass plays. Like that's what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? So I just think that the D line is going to be too much of a problem for the Packers O line. Still, that's my 2 cents.
Both O lines, you know, it's crazy. It's last year that was our biggest strength. That was the Lions' biggest strength is O line. You know what I mean? But this year, both of our O lines been shaky. Like now, Lions fans are saying Glasgow sucks at center. You know, Frank Ragnow retiring before the season really screwed them over. They had no replacement for center. You know,
It's
they
almost
tried
like
to
we
throw.
were saying that same thing before the season started.
we're trying to tell
And they won't say they
miss
miss Ben Johnson. They won't say they
we're
miss
trying
Ben
to tell
Johnson,
them.
but they will say Morton is not a good play caller, and Campbell is yet to be determined. You know what I mean?
I could have sworn that those Lions fans swore up and down that there would be absolutely no change to their offensive line. The next guy was just going to step right in, and the team was just going to keep rolling.
Or to their offensive play calling, Joe.
Yeah, and that too.
They thought Tate Rattledge was gonna fucking be the say all be all just because he hunted a bear or something or deer or something like that before the season.
I mean, look, here's the thing though too. You know, this interdivisional stuff is great, but come playoff time, what I fear is that all the teams are one and done again. Because for whatever reason, like we're winning games and we get these good records. Like look at last year, 2 amazing records out of the North, both one and done for various reasons. And I look at these teams this year, I'm like, okay, like all 3 of these teams, the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings, or the Bears, the Lions, and the Packers, I'm sorry. Like we all have like this glaring issue. For the Bears, it's the defense right now, which is ironic. But then you think, okay, the guys who are hurt, and we talked about the nickel. Look at our nickel's been out all year, right? And we have a pretty decent replacement now in Gardner Johnson, right? But he's still not. It's not the same. For the Packers, it's like their front defense is good, but if you can avoid the rush, you can eat their secondary all day. Whereas the Bears, it's the opposite. Their secondary is what's keeping them in games, right? Because they're being opportunistic, they're ball hawking, they're getting picks. Whereas the front 4 haven't been doing it, or the front 7. For the Lions, it's kind of the same thing as the Bears, right? The Bears and the Packers a little bit. We all have the same problem. They're more of the same like the Packers. Their front is good, but their back end is not that good. Right, so if you can survive their pass rush, you can eat a little bit, and you don't need to eat a lot. You just need to have a snack, and that's all you really need on these teams, right? Get a snack. The difference between the Bears and the Packers, or the Bears and the Packers and Lions, is the Bears right now boast the number 3 offense in the league, right? So offensively, the Bears are more suited to win a shootout right now than the other 2 teams are for whatever reason. Offensive lines maybe that once again the key for the Packers. Obviously injuries for the Lions, injuries, retirements, whatnot, play calling. That all matters. So it's kind of interesting. Like so, we get to the playoffs and we're playing, Philly. We're playing Seattle, San Francisco. I wonder how those games are going to go for NFC North teams because we seem to be a little more problematic than some of these other teams are. Not that these other teams aren't problematic, because the Eagles, dude, their defense has been on fire, but their offense has been basically, limping by on fumes. As we
one thing that's huge for the Packers and Bears is Packers are getting back Jaden Reed. hasn't been announced yet if he's going to play against the Lions, but if he does, that's huge for us. Huge for our offense. We get our slot receiver back, you know,
One
and
question
that
I
hasn't.
have, sorry, Isaac.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
One question I have, you can tell me, Isaac, who's running the ball for you guys? Like,
Jacobs might be back. Manuel. I mean, I actually like Wilson a lot. You know, I mean, Wilson. You know, he knows how to. You know, he has a quick elusiveness and he has a little like power to him. You know, so he's kind of like a wrapped up package. But if Jacobs is healthy enough to go, it's going to be Jacobs 100%. That's
yeah,
getting
but
most of the carries.
there's a difference between healthy enough to go and healthy. Like Jacobs has been playing quote unquote healthy enough to go for a few weeks now, and he hasn't
Mhm.
been terribly impressive. Like he's still Jacobs. Like even 80% of Jacobs is a good running back, dude. But
Yeah.
I just
Well,
the
Jacobs.
reason I say
Mhm.
that is because this Lions game to me, like I
Uh,
think the running games are going to be important, and
yeah.
like because the Lions, you can trash their secondary if you want, and the Packers as well. But a few of these games, the Lions that they lost, but they were playing inspired defense. Like, and
Yeah.
so that's the question that I bring up is like, if you can't run the ball on them, and it's all on Jordan Love now, like. Yeah, he might have some success with that secondary, but it'd be a whole lot better if you had a running game to go with it.
Playing the Lions, they're actually pretty tough against the run. Jack Campbell is having himself a career year, against the run, and that's. I mean, but I get that, and what I want to see is us open up more play action passes. You know what I mean? Like that's
But
something that
how do you do
we've.
that though?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, you
I
can
mean,
look at the Bears. Did it the first 4 weeks, the Bears couldn't run, and they were still doing play action, and it was working. I think that's though more because Caleb is a threat to run more
mhm.
maybe than the running game itself. But you don't have to necessarily establish the run to do play action. It's just a lot easier if you do. You can use the pass to set up the run. The Bears were
Mhm.
doing that early. So I mean, you can do it in reverse, but and Jordan Love is athletic enough. People don't give him enough
Yeah.
credit for his running ability. He is
Mhm.
athletic enough, but you can still run play action with Jordan Love, and they're going to have to bite at least some, like they do with Caleb.
Yeah.
I agree with you that you don't have to establish the run, but I do think you have to establish the threat of the run.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
what
that's
you do.
what
That's
that's
what I'm
where
saying. Like
Jacobs comes in.
that, but
Mhm.
even if you just look at straight quarterbacks, you look at the three quarterbacks who are in the hunt right now: Goff, Caleb, and Love. Two of them, two of them, one of them gets credit for being able to run. That's Caleb. One doesn't get it. Well, then the other two don't get credit. Really, Love is a better runner than Goff. I'll say it that way. Um, so people will give Love a little more. Ooh, wait, he might actually run because he's done it more. Goff is kind of like that old school pocket guy who he does run, but it's so few and far between. Right when he just goes like I can't remember the last designed run I saw for Goff, like where he goes to the outside and goes for 15 yards. But you've seen Love do it. You see Caleb do it. I think both guys even get some design run plays called for them. But it's just you don't see Goff do that. So for Love, you still have to respect the fact that he could run on a play action. Whereas with Goff, you really don't. But they don't have to do it with Goff because they established the run with an end around with JMO. And then
The
they can
best.
start doing play
Yeah.
action with that.
And you know what it is too? Like this is one of those games, and you can almost start it back on the Packers as well. But man, like I almost think like the Lions not having Laporta, like when you play like a good team, I think that rears its ugly head a lot more. The Packers
Yes.
don't have Kraft.
Yep.
But honestly, man, I'm not. Jameson Williams has his moments, but overall, man, he's invisible a lot of games. And Amon Ra, like I said, like he's been. I almost wanted to say unreliable this year. So
Well, he's got the hand
yeah,
issue. It hurt
yeah,
him.
it's
But like with JMO,
I I
with
wouldn't go
JMO
that
though,
far. Like the reason why is I'm on Raw. St. Brown can break off a big play off of you
he can.
anytime,
And so can
I
and he's
JMO.
a
don't know about that.
third down specialist.
He's dropped
Like
a lot of key balls on third down.
Well,
He
I
almost
mean,
lost the Lions game last week because of a drop. So
look,
yeah,
he's got the hand injury, so I get what you're saying, Broski. But we didn't have maybe slap an asterisk on that. It's like he's unreliable, but not because
Well,
he is unreliable. His hand
right.
is unreliable due
It's
to
his
injury.
hand, but I'm just whatever the reason, like, and I know it's his hand, but I'm just saying, like, the fact is, the end result is he's dropped a lot of balls this year that he normally catches. But
But like with JMO being like a ghost, some games like there's what JB is saying. Like if he drops the ball early, then they kind of look off him. But the other thing is like, dude, they got a lot of mouths to feed there too, right? So it's kind of like I can equate that to like what's going on with the Bears because like you'll get a week where. And then this is where the media and all the fans of the other teams go, "Oh my God, DJ Moore, get rid of him because you're not using him." Well, last week he had 2 touchdowns and some big catches, right? The week before he might not. He might have 1 catch, 1 target, or 2 targets and a catch, and everything is going to Rome, or it's going to Luther, or it's going to whoever. I mean, you've got a lot of mouths you can feed. There are going to be games where you're not going to see much of the guy. You might only see him for 2 or 3 plays because they're shifting the focus off him because the defenses are because he maybe had a big game last week. So I wouldn't be surprised if like. DJ, who had 2 touchdowns this last week for the Bears, isn't the guy they go to this week because the Eagles will be covering up on DJ, which is going to let it be. Maybe it'll be Luther, maybe it'll be Rome, maybe it'll be Colston or Komet or Swift out of the backfield or something. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of that, but I kind of get what you're saying, but
and I think what I'm saying too a little bit is like I think the Lions' options are a little bit more limited than people realize right now. You know what I mean? I think that's my point. And if I'm the Lions, honestly, I'm trying to get Jameson Williams involved early. Like this is like jet sweep week for Jameson. This is bubble screen week for Jameson. Like I'm doing end around week for Jameson. Like I'm doing things like that this week. Not this week for the Packers game.
For me, for the Packers game, if I'm the Lions, I'm throwing the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm trying to get him open in space, and I'm trying to use those swing passes, and like I might even send him deep a couple times, like or maybe not like deep, but deeper, like intermediate routes. Like I'm trying to get the ball in his hands, dude.
The problem with that is I don't think their O line can hold up to the Packers D line long enough for a play like that to develop.
Well, no, with Jahmyr, you don't have to though. Like you could run like that little bubble screen the Bears do with Swift, right? Like you whatever side Parsons is on. So let's say he's on the quarterback's left side. All right, Gibbs be on the left of him, and Gibbs just kind of like runs around and he just popped the ball over him and boom. I mean, the Bears have done that with Swift. That's when that little dump pass play that teams use on the blitz. That's all you have to do. You do that a couple times, you burn them. Guess what? They stop blitzing.
Yeah,
so I mean, you could do that with Jahmyr.
Yeah, that's the thing about Gibbs. He only needs like one little tiny block, a slither of a block, and he's out. He's gone. So I expect Edgerrin Cooper. I mean, I'm hoping Quay Walker. He didn't play last week. I'm hoping he's playing because Quay Walker's having himself a hell of a season. He's great sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
And so was Edgerrin Cooper. So if we can get those guys, basically, what I want those guys to not overcommit. Overcommit to fucking try to get in the backfield. That's where Gibbs makes a lot of people miss. So if you can kind of play contain, stick to your area, you don't really leave Gibbs a lot of room, to run about. If we can establish kind of the same game plan that we did week 1, where we just contain instead of just try to overcommit and get to them, we can have a good day. But
for the Packers, it's simple. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. That's the guy that's going to kill you on Thursday if they beat you. It's going to be Gibbs, and you have to stop these little dump passes on blitzes or little screen passes. And for the Lions, it's like, okay, we can't necessarily just hand the ball to Gibbs. We got to do these little dump passes to Gibbs, right? To kind of break containment of the initial rush of the line. And I don't think the Packers are going to blitz a lot. Like they don't have to. They're going to run their 4 up there because their 4 get pressure. But you just got to, once they get a couple little screen passes to Gibbs like that, little dump passes to Gibbs, and he breaks. And like I said, if he gets hopefully the receivers are blocking. That's one thing I'll give credit to Bears receivers for. Like DJ Moore and Luther Burden have been blocking beasts in Rome too. They've all been blocking really well. If the Lions can get good blocking out of the receivers, out of St. Brown, out of JMO, then these little screen passes are going to work, and they're going to eat up a lot of yards against Green Bay. Now, the question becomes now when you get the red zone, how these teams are going to do it. But I think the Lions have been pretty good in the red zone this year. because the red zone, changes things, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's their key. Conversely, for the Packers, they've got to. Yeah, I mean, who's running the ball? I mean, look at your backup had a week last week. Does he have that kind of week this week against Hutch and those guys? Probably not. So the Packers got to find their own little dump plays, and they got to, Dobbs has to get open with that big dome of obedience that you can see from Mars. He's got to be that guy who's always finding the hole in the zone, and Love needs to find him quickly. Or because you're without your tight end, you're without your running back most likely, and even if you have Jacobs, do you really want to risk Jacobs with screen passes in the middle or dump passes where you could take big hits on an incomplete pass? Probably not. You want him to be able to control the hits a little bit better. So their offensive game plan is going to be interesting in both teams. And here's the irony. Both teams, both fan bases, I've seen comments today and other days, the same thing. We need to figure something out with our offensive play calling. Both teams have this issue right now.
And Lions fans don't want to admit it. You know what I mean? Dan Campbell is not doing them any favors. Like against the Giants, Gibbs fucking saved that team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Isaac, like I said before, I hope they leave. I hope Dan Campbell remains their play caller the rest of the season. I really do. Please.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great head coach. I don't think anyone's gonna say he's not not great, but at least a very good head coach.
He's a pretty damn good head coach. Yeah,
he
absolutely.
rallies the troops. He sets a great culture. Yep. But when it comes to designing plays and calling plays, not his bag, man. He needs a guy. He's an old school coach like that. You know what I'm saying? Which the NFL, you're looking at a head coach. It's either going to call your defense or your offense. And remember, like being a guy like Ben Johnson, who's calling the offense as a head coach, used to not be the norm. Those were outlier coaches, right?
Yeah.
Now that's the norm, and the outlier is the old school coach like a Ditka or any of these other guys from back in the 70s and 80s who had OCs and DCs who made the calls, and the head coach just ran the team. Campbell's a throwback to that. He runs a team like nobody's business. But when it comes to the play calling and play design, dude ain't it.
Yeah, and shout out Mike Kafka for doing a nice job play calling the last couple of weeks for the Giants. I mean, not working with a hell of a lot. And I'm telling you what, if I'm the Lions, after seeing him up close and personal, I'm thinking, damn, maybe we can bring Kafka in as our OC next year, because that might be a really good move for them.
Oh yeah, like what it reminds me of Dan Campbell is, remember when Matt Nagy was taking over play calling for 2018. He's running all these college plays, smoke and mirror plays, and it was working. Mitch Trubisky was kind of thriving in that system. And then you go to year 2 and all that thing falls apart. I think that's what's going on with Dan. And just because, like, and this is where, like, Lions fans get this, he's a great play caller, is remember when Dan Campbell took over play calling, like it was like week 9 from Lynn. They thought all Dan Campbell was a glorious play caller from there, but it was only like, how many weeks left over? I mean, this was when we were still doing 17 weeks,
Isaac, your argument's great, because like Nagy's a great example, right? Nagy had that great rookie coach year, but then, like, you know what the difference between Nagy, LaFleur, and Ben Johnson is? Nagy never adjusted. In fact, he kind of shrank in, because if people say, well, Mitch got a little hurt, but okay, they there was like half that playbook didn't get called the next year. LaFleur in his second year still thrived, and you could say with him though, well, he had Rodgers, and now we've had no Rodgers for a couple of years. It's him and Love, and now people are seeing some offensive problems there. Maybe he's not adjusting. Ben Johnson has done a great job as an OC from year to year to year adjusting, and he's having success year 1 in Chicago. But I think it's the adjustment piece, and Nagy didn't adjust. LaFleur has adjusted, but maybe his adjustments that aren't wide enough. And Ben has shown the capability, be it as a Lions OC or the Bears head coach, to have a wider range of adjustment. And you look at other coaches like Sirianni, he's had wide adjustment. You look at some of these other guys, McVay's had wide adjustment. And Dan Campbell, his adjustment window doesn't seem to be that wide right now.
I think the issue with Nagy is he tried to make Trubisky a pocket passer instead of what he was thriving in the rookie year,
Yes.
where he was
Oh, I
getting
agree.
Mitch
100%.
out the pocket, scrambling, throwing
Yep.
on the run. You know, Mitch was thriving in that system, but then when he made him a pocket passer, that's when it all went to shit. You know?
No, I agree. That was my complaint.
Yeah.
In 19, they were still good. 20, they were okay. But that was my complaint was like, man, I mean, what they took Mitch's run game away from him. Now, supposedly he was hurt, and that was part
Yeah.
of it, but they took a lot of what he did well away from him in year
Yeah.
2 and 3. And so I agree with you. And I think with Jordan Love, that they've taken a couple things away from him, but some of that was out of necessity because of injuries across
Yeah.
the board. Like you just can't do because there's, but not as much. With the Lions, they haven't taken anything away. They're just not calling the right play at the right time. So that's the other thing. The Lions are like, well, the playbook is still there. Yeah, and there's some minor adjustments to it, but the guy calling the play and knowing what to call and when to call it has changed. And that's the other piece. Nagy and Campbell, I'm gonna lop them in because they don't make the appropriate call at the appropriate time. It looks like, and Campbell maybe a little less so than Nagy, and you're starting to see some of that complaining coming out of Green Bay with the offense. They're like, oh, that was a bad. Why is he making these play calls?
No.
And looking for Bears fans, we see it about Ben Johnson still once. So like, Ben, why did you call that play? Like, why are you going to run the Bagent play for the second time in the game and not go to Bagent and try to do this silly run play? I mean, we get it, the misdirection, but it worked the first time. But you're going to try it twice in one game the same way. I'm like, you're like, come on, Ben.
I'm glad you brought that up because you know what the stickler is for me with Ben Johnson's play calling right now, and to a point, I kind of understand it because he's definitely rolling with Swift as the lead running back, but some of these runs up the middle, you know what I mean, that Swift is getting, and he tiptoes to the line. I'm like, just put Monagai in for some of those. Not necessarily all of them. I'm not saying don't ever run Swift up the middle, but I just feel there's more than a couple times a game. I'm like, damn, I wish Monagai was getting the ball on that run up the middle. You know?
I mean, I get why he does it too, because he wants to keep some unpredictability on those guys. So I get that. And Swift's had a couple. Look at he's had a couple decent runs up the middle. And we saw last week Monagai, his average was 1.25 yards a carry. I mean, it wasn't good. But that's going to happen with that system. And same way when you get with Gibbs and Montgomery, that happens with them too from time to time. I mean, that's going to happen. The difference for the Bears is they have other weapons they can go to. And look at the Bears still put up over 100 yards rushing between the running backs last week, minus Caleb. The Bears running game is not a problem. It's ranked number 2 in the NFL right now, which is crazy because like Broski will come out like, oh, the Bears got to do better running, right? And you're like, yeah, we're like, yeah, the Bears got to be better running. And then we like, the Bears are second in the NFL running. What the hell are we talking about?
Well, no, you know what it is though? It's like that's how high the ceiling is or the potential is. It's like I think we can both watch Bears games and be like, yeah, they're still kind of inefficient on offense. They still leave plays on the field. And imagine when they start coming into their own and start making those plays, they start being a little more efficient. My goodness.
Well, that's the scary thing, Broski, with this Bears team. We got like a top 3 ranked offense, and they're not even hitting on all cylinders yet.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
If they do what Ben Johnson said they were going to do and play some of their best football starting in December, coming into December and into the playoffs, this Bears team should put the fear of God into anyone that plays them offensively. Because if they can put it all together, and they're starting to show signs it's getting closer. Because now, like last week, you saw the tight ends were used well, the wide receivers were used well, and the running game was, we'll say an NFL average running game, about 100, a little over 100 yards with the running backs, like 150 yards when you throw Caleb in there. I mean, dude, when you get that kind of attack, and they put it all together, and now they're hitting on some of these misses that they're taking. They're going to be scary. So, like when you fast forward to Friday's game against a really, really good defense, and I think was Fred said it earlier, like this will be a test for the Bears Friday. It's going to be a test for the Eagles defense too. Because the Eagles beat up on don't take this the wrong way, Isaac or Lions fans, but they beat up on these 2 offensive units that don't have a top 5 offensive line right now. They don't have the same offense that the Bears have right now. I don't want to say they're less than, but they were depleted at the time. comparatively
Yeah, I
speaking
mean
to what they were. You know what I mean? So like
that.
this is a test for the Eagles just as much as it's a test for the Bears. This is
Mhm.
definitely a test for the Eagles, and I'm tired of just hearing people say, "Oh yeah, well, this is a test for the Bears." Like, no, dude, this is a test for the Eagles too with this Bears offense.
Oh yeah, I mean the Eagles. I mean they show some. There's chinks in the armor. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there is, but like that being said, though, that Eagles defense swarms. You know what I mean? They really are a scary team. Like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the middle basically blocks anything you want to run on the A gaps. So you might as well think about the C gaps when you go against the Eagles because. And then how about N'Kobe Dean? He came back the last 3 weeks and he has like an interception, he has a fumble, he has sacks. Like he's
well,
really
and they have a
thriving in that
secondary.
system.
And
Yeah,
they have a good secondary. I think. Look, at the key
yeah.
for the Bears is here's the difference between the Bears, the Lions, and the Packers. The Bears are better with their trick plays right now. And to be honest with you, that's what's going to break this game apart a little bit. Not break it apart, but make it easier for the Bears. If you connect on you run a trick play in the first couple drives, and you
Mhm.
you connect on, you can run a couple trick plays and kind of really confuse that defense a little bit more. That's going
Yeah.
to make the rest of the game easier when you're normal sets. The Packers and the Lions, not a lot of trick plays from them this year.
Yeah, and the Bears are going to have less opportunities to make big plays downfield this game. So when those
Yeah,
opportunities occur, they need
you
to
got to
take
hit.
advantage of it. You got
Got to
to
hit.
hit.
Yep.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
And
and,
if
and
it's me, if I'm the Bears, honestly, for this game, I'm running Monangai more than I'm running Swift. Like
probably
Monangai's a more
so.
physical runner,
Mhm.
and like you're gonna need a physical runner against that Eagles D line.
One thing I think you'll see the Bears debut. I hope they debut because they haven't done it yet really this year. Is I want to see the two running back set. I want to see Monangai and Swift both in there at the same time. Think about it, when you look at the Bears, you look at the Lions. How often you see Gibbs and Monty back at the same time? He used to with Ben Johnson, right? He'd line them both up there. You're like, okay, who's getting it, Sonic or Smash? The Bears have not done that really yet. I hope the Bears line up that way a couple times and have a couple running plays. We don't know which running back's going to get it, but also have some of those be diversionary. Like there's no running back's going to get it. It's going to be a screen pass to Swift or a dump pass to Luther Burden through the middle or something like that, right? Like you got to have the Bears have not shown that set yet. I think if you're going to debut it, this is a game you debut. You don't wait for the playoffs to do it. You do it in this game because here's the other thing too. You can run a two tight end, two running back, one wide receiver set, so to speak, right? So I mean, it's going to create confusion in that defense, and you've got tight ends that are good enough to be receivers. That it sounds funky, but it really isn't. And Ben Johnson is a play designer who can design plays like that will probably work. Like
Bears
you
get
could do a lot of things with that.
I
Bears
also
get
think
back at you. Oh, go ahead,
I
Joe.
was going to say I also think the Lions should employ the two running back strategy against the Packers.
They
I think
should.
they should have Monty in there to try to like chip Micah and help out with pass protection, and then to try to hit those swing passes to Gibbs and stuff like to give him that little bit of extra time.
The problem, Joe, they have before Isaac, before you jump in, the problem they have with that is now without Laporta, you've lost one of your better blocking tight ends / threat capabilities. Whereas the Bears, like it's advantageous, right? Because you have two tight ends who are threat capabilities. Without Laporta, that really now that tight end's more of a blocker. Only, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Go ahead, Isaac.
As I say, the Bears get back a huge piece in Jalen Johnson. He's revving up things to come back, and then that shores up a lot of your secondary. I mean,
Well,
Kevin
uh,
Byard is having a really good season on
Mhm.
picking passes off. You know what I mean? If you add Jalen Johnson, that shuts down half the field, you
so
know?
yeah, no. Last week, we had practice squad basically linebacking core, and they did a great job. Edwards, we don't. Hopefully, he comes back. Obviously, we haven't seen an injury report yet. Hopefully, if we get Gordon back, Jalen Johnson, those guys back. I mean, it's huge. But look at the guy that we all love the bitch about in Chicago, right? Because he was a practice squad guy for the Vikings. Now leads the NFL in interceptions.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The
one thing for the
secondary.
Bears. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, go ahead, Broski. Go ahead.
I was going to say another thing to throw out there for this Bears Eagles matchup is Ozzie Trapillo starting at left tackle, and is Jonah Jackson healthy, is he going to be starting? Because he got banged up. I'm not sure if he's going to be good to go.
So that's a funny thing too. Like I said this yesterday, how long has it been since the Bears were now on their third left tackle this year, where we could make these kinds of changes and there's been no issue?
Yeah.
Like Ryan Poles, give the man credit for building this offensive line this year, going in, seeing the need from last year's debacle that didn't work out as they had planned, a lot of it due to injuries, going out and fixing that, and now not just having a good starting five, but good backups to the starting five.
Yeah, and almost treating the left tackle spot like a young quarterback. Like, hey, let's get him out there right away. Okay, let's pull him back. Let him watch a little. Let him learn. Okay, we'll throw him back out there. Get some run. Okay, you did this good. You didn't do this good. Take him out. And it's almost like they're kind of making him study and get ready for this time of season when they're just going to like, okay, now it's time to unleash Ozzie Trapillo at left tackle.
I don't think it's all depth for the Bears. Like as bad as their offensive line was last year, I know you guys added a few linemen and everything, but I think blocking scheme has something to do with it too. I think that this blocking scheme is just easier for the Bears to where like even your third string guys can come in and be successful now. Whereas last year, if you guys were on your third string tackle, you would be shitting your pants, right? You're like, oh no, like
and physical ability as well. I was
saying that last year, Joe. Remember, I was saying that last year, right? Coaching matters and the scheme matters, and I agree with you. I think the scheme is a lot better for this offensive line, but also say this: Trapillo is a second round pick, right? Mm-hmm. He was a second round pick that they held out for the first 12 weeks of the season for all intents and purposes. And now he was a projected starter coming to camp. Like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's going to be the starter. He's going to be the starter. And no, it didn't go that way. It went to Brown, who then got hurt, and then went to, the Canadian Eagle, and he got hurt, and now it's Trapillo. I think the thing that was more the surprise was that the Canadian Eagle, Theo Benedict, showed up like he did. And the great thing about Theo is if you're going to leave, if he's healthy, but you're going to leave Trapillo out there, there's your answer to Jonah Jackson, Broski, because Theo has shown the capability of playing any position on this line, right? So he could be the answer there. But even the backups we had at right guard, the backup we had at right guard last week played phenomenally.
Yeah,
so that goes more to Joe again.
Yeah, the rookie Newman. He seems like he's going to be a starting guard in the NFL for years, honestly. So to me, he's going to start if Jackson doesn't. But another thing with left tackle too, then I think it's huge. Is this like what I was saying, like physical ability, physical stature? Like I want my left tackles to be 6'6", 6'7", 325 pounds. And still like able to move their feet. And that's to me what you have in Trapillo and Bennett. They are that profile, whether or not they live up to it. And Newman's a perfect for an NFL guard. He's like the prototype size now. He's a little taller.
6'3", 308. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like I thought for some reason I thought he was a little taller, maybe not, but long story short, he is like built to be an NFL guard. He fits that profile, and I think he's good.
What I think what you guys need to do against the Eagles, you need to take I know you can't be like the Cowboys offense, whatever, but what you can do is have players, run down the field just like how the Cowboys had it, and try to draw them with penalties. That's what the Cowboys did all night on that, when they went down 21-0. Cowboys were just basically fucking having their wide receivers run go routes, fly routes.
Yeah.
And, having go good.
Real quick, so I want to get this in before and then you jumped in, but Ozzie Trapillo, 6'8", 312. He's 6 pounds heavier than Newman. That's it. And but he's like 5 inches taller.
Yeah, they're kind of built almost tall and not lanky, but almost tall and kind of lanky. They're not like the stocky type is what I'm getting at. You have to be almost NBA power forward-ish out there as a left tackle anymore,
And Isaac, you're not wrong, because if there's any offense that could duplicate what the Niners or the Cowboys did, it's that Bears offense, right? I mean, if you really want to think about the Cowboys, their offense isn't as good as the Bears overall. You must have had a work call. Isn't as good overall, but that's definitely a game plan that Ben Johnson looked at them.
Well, yeah,
Look
like
at the tape and what they
Quinion
did.
Mitchell. Yeah, Quinion Mitchell, he's fast, but I don't think Cooper DeJean is that fast. I mean, Cooper DeJean's pretty good, but he's not that fast.
He's
So if you can
opportunistic.
get him, yeah, if you get him on a one and just have like a DJ Moore or Romeo Dunze just run a fly route, you're gonna draw some penalties, and that's how the Cowboys essentially won the game.
And really, Nashawn Wright, if JJ doesn't come back, I'm not mad. Nashawn Wright, dude, Tyreek Stevenson and Nashawn Wright at corners have been doing phenomenal work for the Bears. The thing that from last week that the last couple weeks, if you guys haven't noticed, Montez Sweat is getting almost 2 sacks a game now.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well.
He's coming up, and I think part of that's when I'm sad Broski had to drop off because he would have loved this. It's ever since we brought Booker back in. When Booker went in and Dale went out, and Dale, of course, unfortunately went out to injury. But since Booker's been in the lineup, Sweat's been better.
And Eagles are missing a big piece in Lane Johnson. You know what I mean? They're missing Lane Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, especially Saquon. Saquon's missing Lane Johnson like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, their
you know
running
what I mean?
game is not.
Yeah.
And the Bears have been pretty good against running backs overall. Last game was a little different with the different linebacking core, but yeah, that's where Edwards needs to be back. We have to get some guys, and you have to in that nickel. Dude, the nickel is so important to the Dennis Allen defense. I think all the NFC North teams, the nickel's pretty important. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the games this week. One, because it's a divisional game on Thanksgiving, and then of course you got the big, the Bears game. That is a big game. By the way, the Bears-Packers game got flexed to the NFL, to the Fox game of the week for our first meeting. So that's going to be interesting too. The second game is still TBD. But look, at these North games are going to be really good, and I think we'll definitely talk more Packers Lions tomorrow. We're not going to do a show Thursday morning for Thanksgiving, I don't believe. At least
if the Bears get by the Eagles, do they tie the Rams for record? Or are the Rams still ahead one game?
I think the Rams are still ahead.
The Rams, let me see. The Rams are right now 9-2, so they're a game up.
Oh, yeah, they're a game up.
But I mean, look, we'd overtake the Eagles because they would go to 8-4. We'd go to 9-3. So for right now, we would be the number 2 seed. We would not necessarily overtake the Rams, but now depending if the Rams lose next weekend, I don't know. Then you get in the tie breaks, and I'm not trying to figure all that out.
It's so crazy to me. The Pats are leading the league in record, and it's so crazy to me.
I mean, we even talked about the AFC today. We've been all NFC North, but the AFC is like even crazier. But
I know the Bills, like, they have a shitty fucking division, but like, man, dude, fucking Patriots really are taking off this year. It's crazy.
Don't they still have to play the Bills one time though?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big game, dude.
That's going to be a huge game, and the Bills are not having a Bill season. Like, they're having a kind of a weird season. And look, you got to be careful with the Ravens. They're hot right now. The Broncos are still really good. KC's coming on. Indy that was a close game. Indy's offense disappeared though in the second half. The AFC is very interesting to talk about as well. But the big games this week, let's face it, they're in the NFC North. It's that Thursday Thanksgiving game, and it's the Black Friday game are the 2 big games right now coming into this week. And Friday we're gonna have a good conversation about the game that happened, then getting ready for the Bears-Eagles game. In fact, it'll almost be a pregame show, won't it, for us on the morning show? So 2 really good games that have massive impact on this division. If the Packers win this game and the Bears win the game, the Bears basically have a 1.5 lead on the division, right? Yeah, no, there'll be a half game on the Packers and
half game.
Yeah, half game. But if the Lions win and get the revenge, and the Bears win, then it's a 1.5 or something like that. It's this division is still close. It's so close. I mean, if the Lions win and the Eagles win, the Bears will still be in first place, or no, will be in second place by tiebreak. And you see, this is the crazy part of the year. And all these games, like, oh, but hey, JB's going to be on next. So he's going to be talking a lot of Packers lines in about 30 seconds here on his show. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Broski, for being here, of course, with Joe and not myself. Thank you, everyone in the comments. Ken should be back tomorrow. You guys have a great Football Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
Take care, y'all.